Welcome to part 2 of Ask a 4.5, where once a week I will be answering commonly asked questions for you guys so you don't have to keep repeating the same questions over and over again, and I don't have to sound like a broken record, unlike your middle school teacher. So, first question. Bill Cutlip is asking about my string of record and what strings I use at my essential tennis matches and what tension those strings were at. I always string my rackets, whether it's tournament play or play testing, at 55 pounds, and I use the Yonex E-Zone 98 2020 version as well. It is 4 1/4 grip, so that's L2, and there is a leather grip underneath the overgrip that I do use. So those are currently my specs. As of the Polytour Fire question, although the Yonex Polytour Fire, which I recently reviewed, I will leave a link to that in this corner if you guys want to check it out. Although I did give it fairly high marks, it is not my current string of choice. It is just way too expensive, and although it's very highly rated in every single aspect, it did not give me the feeling that it was worth $18 a packet. Hopefully, Bill, that answers your question. Question from Xander Bush in my Discord. By the way, I do have a Discord live, and Xander Bush did ask this question in the Q&A with Mark text channel. So I will also leave a link to my Discord down in the section below if you guys want to come and hang out or ask questions from me. I do pop in from time to time. However, he is asking what I do for a living. You seem rich, honestly. Thank you for the compliment. I'm wondering what kind of gave off that vibe that I had money. I do software development for a living. That is my primary job as of now. So I am a programmer. My background is actually in business finance, so I was actually a sales guy and a financial analyst for my very first half of my career in my 20s, and then I made the jump to software development. It was a very hard transition. I did, in all honesty, kind of get lucky with social networking and my people skills, and an opportunity did open up with a former coworker of mine, and I went through the interview and he hired me as an entry-level software developer. And as of now, I've had about 4.5 years of software development experience in a professional setting. Obviously, I'm not going to disclose exactly how much I make, but you guys can kind of tell using Glassdoor how much my annual salary is for my full-time job. So hopefully that answers that question, Xander Bush. Sam91, again from my Discord, is asking, what is my serve speed out of curiosity? My fastest serve speed that I clocked in a non-competitive tennis match was on the ad side and up the tee, and it was clocked at 127 miles per hour. And yes, if you guys are asking, it did somehow land in. However, I would never, ever use that type of serve in a competitive tennis match unless I was up by a set and like 2 breaks and up 40 love. Because that shot for me, being 5'8" or so, is extremely low percentage. So realistically, in a match play situation and in my essential tennis matches, Ian and his team did clock it frame by frame, and using the distance with where I made contact and where the ball landed as kind of the formula to clock my serve speed. My first serve speed in a competitive tennis match on a regular basis is anywhere between 105 and maybe 120. I would say my average first serve speed is about 115 miles per hour. I believe my second serve speed is about 85 to 90 miles per hour, which is a hell of a lot faster than Alexander Zverev's. But the serve is something I need to work on, and it is a very big glaring weakness in my game other than my forehand. Brett, how did I get into tennis? Was it always a lifelong thing, or did I pick up on the side when doing comp sci? Well, I never studied comp sci except for self-learning when I was, I believe, 25, 26. As I said in the previous question, I do have an undergrad in business finance. I got into tennis because my mom and my dad wanted to kind of keep me off the streets. We did grow up in a fairly not so nice neighborhood growing up, and I grew up in not only an immigrant household, but also in a lower middle income class for most of my life. So my mom and dad, who I love very, very much and are extreme workaholics and have sacrificed a lot for me to have this opportunity to make a good living for myself in a country such as the United States of America, I don't take that for granted at all. And tennis, for them, other than for me to kind of get in physical shape, because I was actually fairly chubby growing up as a small child, it was a good opportunity for me to build confidence, because I was heavily bullied when I was in middle school and especially elementary school, because I couldn't speak English that well. But for me, I mean, depending on what your definition is of lifelong, yes and no. I really didn't start taking tennis seriously, in all honesty, until I was 21, I think, because of a few life incidents that happened to me and I had no control over. So I could go into that question sometime down the road if you guys want. But for me, tennis was always kind of at least a hobby for me, a competitive hobby, ever since I would say 3rd grade on, which is when I picked up tennis. So Brett, hopefully that answers that question. Thank you. Thur23 from Discord. Hey, question. Have you ever had a really bad coach once? And if you did, tell us a story about it. I wouldn't say I ever had a really bad coach. And obviously I'm not gonna make any names, but I've had coaches that I've clicked with, and I've had coaches that, I didn't click with. I've never really had any outstandingly bad coaches. I believe there's an epidemic in at least the United States of kind of mediocre coaches, where they do it 40 hours a week, which is, their full-time job. And they just put hours on the court, and it's just money for them to put on the table, which is obviously necessary to support a family, but they don't have any passion for it. And if you guys are asking, kind of indirectly, hey, what should you look for in a tennis coach? I would actually say find a tennis coach that only does it part-time, similar to me. Don't get me wrong, there are amazing, passionate tennis coaches out there that do it full-time. But if you think about it, if I'm only teaching 5 to 10 hours a week and I'm not necessarily in it for the money, how much more passion am I gonna have for a sport and developing a junior or developing a somewhat high-level tennis player compared to someone that does it 40 hours a week because that person absolutely has to, because that's their full-time job? Think about that. Ethan Ito from my YouTube live stream, which I do 7 p.m. at Tuesdays and Thursdays Central Time, so come hang out if you guys want to ask me questions. I answer a lot of questions on those live streams. Do you think recording matches is really beneficial? Because I don't want to film and be awkward for nothing. Filming yourself, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a GoPro, or even a $2,000 lens and camera body setup, is extremely beneficial. I would highly suggest anybody that's watching this video, and I'm sure you all have cell phones you could at least record on, even if it's an awkward angle. Record yourself. I'm not saying publish it to YouTube. I'm not saying have me review it on Discord, which I do as a favor every now and then. Having a third party visual, you're gonna see a lot of things that you're not gonna see in your first person perspective. So yes, it's gonna be super awkward. Yeah, you might get a few weird looks every now and then. I still do, even after filming. You might get a few awkward looks from other people. It's gonna be very awkward when you guys first do it. But first of all, it's literally free. And you're gonna see some things that you could actually self-correct on, even without a coach such as me or the coach at your local tennis club. So yes, it's gonna be awkward. It's just like your first date. It's just like holding hands for the first time with someone you love. But it's gonna be very, very beneficial in the long run to do it at least occasionally. So anybody that's watching this, I highly suggest you record yourself playing tennis or even hitting every now and then if you haven't started already. So that's the last question of the week. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down in the section below. Or if you want, hop on my Discord and leave a question in the Q&A with Mark text channel. And as always, happy hitting.